Hi guys, my name's Pat Garvey. Welcome to iDrum magazine, issue 6. Now then, last month we left off with the odd time signature groove, okay? This month we're going to pick that groove back up, okay? And we're just going to look at one slightly different application, and then we're going to look at the rest of that track, okay? Because the excerpt that you could download last month is actually part of an entire track, not a particularly long track, but a track, which you're going to be able to download this month, so that you can put the whole track together if that's something that interests you. Okay, so before we get on to that sections wise, okay, we're just going to look at something, okay, and that is the groove that we had last month. Was this, right? This is the groove we ended up with. Take away the decoration and frilly stuff. This is what we ended up with. Okay? That's the groove we ended up with. Now, if I bring that over here and incorporate an open hi-hat into that, okay, so I'll play the groove round once and then I'm going to add an open hi-hat onto a couple of the beats. Okay, so here's the groove. Okay. Now, this brings in another dimension, and it harks back to what we were talking about in a few of the other lessons, all right? And that is that your left foot's there, right? So why not use it for something, or think about ways in which it can be utilised if you want it to be. So it's just practice, and in a way it's increasing your independence facility, okay? Now, just whacking those open hi-hats in to that groove, as we've just gone through, presents pitfalls in itself, okay? So if you're new to all that kind of thing, again, the opening of the hi-hat is fairly fundamental, okay? And just moving on to this open hi-hat thing for a minute, something I see a lot of is hi-hats like this. Okay, barely open. And that presents a problem that you can't get much sound out of it, okay? I mean, that's my finger in there, okay? It just gives me the room to get a nice chick, okay? And it gives me the option to get a nice open hat. If you want a smaller open hat, as in to cover less distance, well then learn how to control your hi-hat pedal, which goes back to the very first lesson and what we were saying about just getting control of your left foot, because if you get control of your left foot, then control of your hi-hat's going to come. So, once you've been through the opening of the hi-hat, okay, we're left, if you take the striking of the hi-hat away, but you keep the motion of the open hi-hat going, we're left with a foot sound. So if I then apply that to what I'm playing over here, and this could be on a ride, it could be anywhere, remember, okay? This just happens to work particularly well with two hats. I get this. I'll play the groove through once without that, and then I'm going to open the hi-hat and close it in exactly the same way that I was when I was just playing it, but I'm not going to be playing it this time, okay? So. Starts to sound quite interesting, I think, and you're not doing anything physically different. All you're doing is playing it over somewhere else. So if I play that here, okay, we end up with something rhythmically quite interesting. It's just something to chew the fat on. It's just another approach, okay? Now, that kind of finishes off the odd time thing, okay? What we're going to look at now is the B section to that track, okay? Which is in 4/4. Now, I'm playing it with a half-time kind of feel snare, okay? So it's on the 3. So you've got this basically. And much in the same way that we decorated the odd time groove, okay, I've just taken that and decorated it as well. We're going to change a few things around there. The first thing we're going to look at is the hi-hat. Now, when we were looking at the odd time thing, we started playing a rhythmical phrase on the hi-hat, that repeating pattern, the ostinato, okay? We're going to do the same thing with this hi-hat now though, okay? But this is going to be the rhythm. So this is what we're actually playing. Okay? And we're going to move some accents in there. So you've got two, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and okay, and that runs the whole time that this groove runs. So you've got and so on, okay? You can mess around with that however you want, okay? So, what we're putting together is the entire track here. And I'm showing you the parts that I came up with for the track. Hopefully, you'll be able to look at the track and come up with your own parts based on what we've talked about or your own creativity, okay? After this 4/4 section, there's a fill section to end it. Okay, there are 2 bars rest to end that section, which take us back into the odd time. Those 2 bars, you can come up with whatever you want to come up with. Okay, you'll hear how it works because I'll play along to an excerpt in a minute that you can also download this week. Okay, of this 4/4 section. Okay, what I'm playing is basically 8th note triplets into 16th notes. Okay, and it's just what I'm applying a sticking and then when it comes to the 16th notes, some accent type stuff to it. Okay. Towards the end of the fill, I'll be going around the toms in a more kind of 32nd note triplet kind of way, but don't get bogged down by the numbers. Come up with your own kind of fill ideas, okay? Water your creativity is what I'm saying. Now, here's the groove that I'm playing. It's a more, I guess it leans towards kind of jungle-esque type stuff, okay? So it comes from this. So I'm thinking kind of, I'm feeling kind of half time when I'm playing it. Here's the groove. Quite a lot going on. If I slow it down, that was the groove, and just messing around with some different kind of accent stuff with this hat, and you can hear each time it changes the groove around. Okay. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to play along with this 4/4 excerpt. Okay, and I'm going to whack the fill in at the end as well, and then we're going to come back. We'll just go over that, touch base on it, and then I'll play through the whole track for you so that you can see how it all kind of works, where it all fits in, and just how it goes. Okay, so here we go with the 4/4 section excerpt. That was the 4/4 excerpt. Okay. Now the groove was what I based on what I played before we did the excerpt. Okay. The fill, as you heard it, was 8th note triplets. Okay, for the first bar, and then I just took the 16th notes and moved them around. So the first part of it was. Okay, so we're putting those little the faster triplets on the end. Rhythmically, that's this. So it's just ways of coming up with ideas. Okay, rhythmical ideas. The 16th notes. When I went into them, I started them on the snare, and then they just became hand-foot combos. I was basically doing this. Okay, but I was moving things around. So for the last part of the fill, it was more just around the toms. This is fairly fundamental stuff again. All those kind of ideas, okay? The first part of the fill was played on the snare. All right, so we're just moving things around here, changing the goalposts a little bit. Those types of ideas, okay? With that kind of thing, again, it's fundamental. So if you can go like this, right, left, right, left, right, left, well, why shouldn't you go left, right, left, right? Well, why can't you alternate that? Left, right, right, left, right. So if you take a fill, let's take this fill. Okay, and if I now put my hands here and I alternate this sticking, nice little fill ideas, because they're from fundamental ideas. You're not playing anything different. Okay, they're just quite nice little ideas to get going in there. Now, we've been through the odd time part of this, okay, and we've broken it down. We've broken the groove down. We started, remember, with just the odd time on the hi-hat. Adding the accents, building everything up. If you get stuck at any point, then that's the point you need to work on. That and below it, okay? If you get that sorted, it's going to be much easier to move on. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put all of that we've talked about over the last 2 months into some kind of musical, or hopefully musical context. Sometimes I'm going to be rim-shotting the snare drum. It's just because I want a slightly nastier sound for this particular piece from the drum. Now, you'll see and you'll hear the sections that we've just been discussing. This track, again, is available for you to download, okay, from the website. Take it, play around with it, mess around, okay? Get the creativity going and just practice these things. It's just practice. Okay, here we go with the full track. Right guys, that's it for this series of lessons. We've looked at a load of stuff. I hope you've got something out of it. I hope you've rediscovered some things or that it shed new light or highlighted anything that you need or want to work on. Get creative. Get it right. Do the right type of practice. Get the right type of teacher. Get a good teacher above all. And whatever you do, keep playing. Thanks a lot. See you soon.